I think that the most fun, but at the same time tedious process in filmmaking is choosing the right camera for you. This may be for your first camera or for your fifth camera. You need to choose the right one for you. Now, what does this mean? I see a lot of YouTubers and filmmakers saying, just buy a camera and be creative. I do agree with that, but at the same time, you need to understand what you want to do with your time, with your videography skills and everything, and choosing the right one for you. In this video, we're gonna talk about that. Let's get into it. Now, I won't bore you with different reasons on why you need to choose the perfect camera because you already know the answer, so I just go straight into it. The first camera is the Sony a6700. This is actually the first camera that I ever bought. Personally, I think that this is the best starting point if you are already getting into videography and you already are landing some clients. It has an incredible versatility. It takes great videos, but also great photos. Now, this is not a cinema line camera. It's an APS-C, but still the photos are incredibly good. Now, what are the strengths of this camera? I would say that the first one is that it's extremely small. It's really portable. You can travel if you need to travel for work. This is the perfect camera for you. The lens recommendations, there are a few that also work with the next cameras that I'm gonna talk about. And these are the Tamron 17-70 f2.8, which is the one that I chose because all around it's an amazing lens, and I personally don't travel a lot for work. I do travel sometimes, but not a lot, not like every 2 weeks. So this is a pretty hefty lens. It's a pretty big one. So I would say that you should choose the Sigma 16-50 millimeters f2.8 if you like to travel a lot. Now, for this lens, it does not have the built-in stabilization. It does on the Tamron. So I would be mindful of that and just think that if you travel like really a lot, like every 2 weeks or something for work, buy the Sigma. If you don't, I would suggest going for the Tamron. The color science and the footage quality, these are the really strong suits about this camera in my opinion. You can obviously shoot in S-Log3, which with a good color grade, you can get really incredible results. Personally, after a few years of trial and error with color grading and understanding a few tips and tricks, I really got incredible results, and I'm really happy about the quality out of this camera, even a couple of years after I bought it, which is insane to me. Now, to be honest about the cost, this is a real investment, I think. It depends obviously what your financial situation is, but personally, when I started, I worked for about 1 year at a sushi place to basically be able to afford this camera. It goes around for, I think, 1.2K. I believe, at least it was like this at the time. I would need to check. I will put the real cost of this now, but it was a real investment at the start because you need to think that you don't only buy the camera, you also buy the lens, which the lens, I'm pretty sure it costs around 700 bucks new, 650, maybe 6 with a used one, but still it's a real investment just right at the start, right out of the gate if you're starting out. But by the time I bought it, I was working more as a video editor and I had some money coming in, so I decided to go for the investment, but I would still be mindful of it because if you don't have like a secure money coming in, you should really think about this investment. Now, this was the first camera. The second camera I want to talk about is the Sony ZV-E10. Now, this is still a great camera. It's, I think, noticeably below the Sony a6700 in terms of quality. I used it. I personally used it for vlogs, and it's really great for them with 24 millimeters maybe. It has a pretty good color grade. You can obviously get really good videos out of it, but I still think that the Sony a6700 is a lot better. Obviously, you can also see that it's a lot better because of the cost. The Sony ZV-E10 costs significantly less than the Sony a6700. Also, for the lenses, you can maybe buy something a little bit cheaper and you can get away with it. But to start out with clients, I would much rather be comfortable with the Sony a6700 instead of working straight away with the Sony ZV-E10. Now, people probably for social media content, for reels, they're not gonna be like extremely disappointed. Actually, they're gonna be really stoked because people are usually used to your phone. At the same time, I feel like the Sony a6700 is really a lot better in terms of a camera. So it depends on you. If you want to do a bigger investment, go for the a6700. If you want to save up some money, go for the Sony ZV-E10. One thing that I think stands out a lot for this camera, it's still, again, the size. It's even smaller than the Sony a6700. And I personally think that for vlogs, if you solely want to vlog, this camera is great for you. You can obviously shoot in Rec 709, but also in log, and you can get pretty decent results. Like for YouTube, this is great. If you're starting out, this is insane. And also, yeah, as I said, like the portability factor with the Sony a6700, since I use it for client work, I also like to put a small rig cage, which gives it some volume, and I don't really want to take it off every time I vlog. So for vlogs solely, I think that this camera is a lot better than an a6700. For everything else, I don't think it reaches the level, as I said. Now, the last camera I want to talk about, which these are actually two cameras, because I want to talk about the cinema line in general. Now, the first one I want to talk about is the Sony FX30. It has the same exact sensor as the a6700, but the image quality now, it should be better. But personally, also as a videographer myself, I can't really distinguish the two videos if one was shot with the a6700 and the other one with the FX30. Personally, I think that these are almost like the same cameras. The only thing that I would say the FX30 has that which is really useful is the built-in fan, even though in some situation it still overheats. It depends obviously on the weather. Now, like right now, there's a heat wave, an incredible heat wave in Europe. I'm in Italy, so it's really hard to let like the camera burn out. But at the same time, I think that this is not like the biggest selling point for me personally. If you shoot like safaris or like really hot places, I would really think about the built-in fan. But if not, it costs around the same amount as the Sony a6700, and the Sony a6700 I think takes a lot better images than the FX30. In my opinion, this is all in my opinion, but I have seen pictures and also videos. In terms of videos, I don't really see the difference. And in terms of photos, I really see that the a6700 has a lot better like image quality in this sense. Plus the beautiful thing, if you have both, they both work with the Tamron 1770 f2.8. And another thing I just want to touch on the FX30 is that a few monitors are actually compatible only with cinema line cameras. So for example, my Axoon monitor, which I just started to use, and it's insane. It has the touch to focus. It has like the fact that you can change the parameters inside the monitor. This is insane to use because it's an incredible monitor that changed the way I shoot, also because it basically works on Android, on an Android operating system. But this monitor you can't use with the Sony a6700. So I think that if you really need the Sony FX30 and if you're sure you're shooting only videos, buy the FX30. If you have some clients, which I did have at the start, that also wanted like photos, because in their mind a videographer also knows how to take like really good photos, which I do, but at the same time it's not my job. There are photographers for that. So in the situation that if you also need photos, buy the Sony a6700. That is my final verdict. Then the last I want to just touch on is obviously the Sony FX3. Now this is a camera that costs a lot of money. It's I think like 3.5K or something like that, which is a lot of money to start out. If you're starting out and you have the capital and you're sure you're gonna start color grading on a high level and creating videos on a high level, and you're sure about this, buy the FX3, but you really need to be sure about it and you really need to have a lot of money. If you don't, go for the other options that I gave you. This is basically the whole overview of the cameras that I think you should focus on. Now, obviously, as you saw, I'm a big Sony fan. I always use the Sony cameras, so I don't really feel like I have the knowledge to talk about other cameras, but you still obviously should look for a Canon or a Nikon or other cameras. You don't need to solely focus on Sony. This is a video talking only about Sony cameras, so just be mindful of that. Now, in this video, I talked about the importance of color grading, and if you don't really know much about it, I created a full tutorial right here that you can look at. I'll see you in the next one, boys. Ciao, ciao.